Glimpse many of the unique inventions and ideas from the mind of one of the world's foremost artists as we highlight the genius of Leonardo da Vinci. And pay tribute to legendary silent film star Charlie Chaplin as we focus on the genius of his classic masterpiece, Modern Times, on this edition of Out and About.
He was a great observer, and what he observed in nature he wanted to replicate in his machines. And so his glider, he finally figured out how birds fly, and so tried to emulate the same muscle conditions that kept wings going to keep a glider in flight. And he actually had his assistant fly from the one of the bridges in Florence over the Arno River, and the guy got quite a distance. He broke his arm as he landed in the water, but Leonardo proved that the disbursement of the air kept the craft in the air longer. The pilot didn't plunge to the sea as most of the spectators expected, but it floated down the river until, because it had no motive power, it was just gliding, it ran out of wind to keep it supported. The Da Vinci exhibit here at the Hollywood and Highland Center originated at the Museum of Leonardo da Vinci in Florence. After Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, worldwide interest in Leonardo exploded. The museum was willing to take some of the replicas of the machines he designed and developed and send them on the road. They went with a friend of mine to New Zealand and Australia. They asked me if I would like to bring them to the United States. I said yes. We brought them in 2006, opened in Palm Springs, went on to Sacramento, Las Vegas, Orem, Utah, down to San Diego for a year, out to El Paso, and we've brought them back to the Los Angeles area.
You've been traveling with the exhibit?
No, I live in Los Angeles,
okay.
But as curator of the exhibit and co-managing member of the group that is responsible for the exhibit, I do travel with it, set it up, close it down, and help do briefings for the docents, the employees, and for community groups.
The current exhibit at the Hollywood and Highland Center displays 64 of Da Vinci's innovative ideas with model representations that are both functional and beautiful.
Of the machines we have that Leonardo designed and developed, 64 of them are broken into three categories. There are mechanical devices, which are his pulleys, his friction delaying mechanisms, springs, and that kind of thing. We have some 20 of the machines he designed for war-making, military machines. and we have some 18 machines devoted to transportation. We have a bicycle, we have a glider, we have a parachute, and we have a number of other things that Leonardo invented to try to get man off the ground and into the sky. In addition, we added, with the machines that we got from Italy, some 20 of his most important artistic contributions. And here in Hollywood, we have added a special exhibit devoted to the Mona Lisa, where we are now, a general gallery of his important paintings, and a special gallery for the Last Supper. And most of all, we are proud of our educational area, which is devoted to games and projects for the kids.
I did see a lady peering over your shoulder there. That apparently is Mona Lisa.
That's a fairly good reproduction of the Mona Lisa. Of course, it doesn't travel since it came to the United States in 1963 and then on to New York. They don't travel it anymore. It's too fragile, and they are right to keep it at the Louvre.
Well, we can always make copies.
Well, the copies are sometimes equally interesting to the original. The original is faded, the original is varnished, and some of the copies that we now make because of digital technology takes away the varnish, the fading, and all the other problems of age, and we can imagine what it looked like when in 1496 he finished the Mona Lisa. For all intents and purposes. He never gave it up. He traveled with it till his death in 1519. He was still fussing with it at the end of his life, and because he died in France, the French king took over the Mona Lisa and ended up in his palace in Paris, which is the Louvre, and that's where it is still today.
A case of politics entering the art field, huh?
Oh, totally. He painted because politics, and because he was illegitimate. He couldn't get a position at court. He couldn't carry his father's name. He couldn't get a profession. He couldn't go to university. But the entry point to the aristocracy was in his ability to paint and paint beautifully.
In addition to his artworks and inventions, other highlights of Da Vinci's contributions include his illustrations and drawings of the human anatomy, depictions that were revolutionary for their time. Perhaps it was this combination of artistic talent and a keen eye for observation that contributed to ideas like this one that looks like an early design for snowshoes. Or it may have influenced his technical marvels like the innovative double-hulled ship, a design so revolutionary that it is used in today's oil tankers. The works offer a rare glimpse into the mind and imagination of a true Renaissance man. Tell us about his genius, really, as an inventor.
Well, Leonardo, because he was illegitimate, because he was left-handed in an era when everybody was right-handed, and because he was a homosexual, he took great risks. The great risks was in his paintings. Just one example, every painter of the day, when doing a religious figure, painted the figure with a halo. Leonardo consciously refused to paint any religious figure with a halo. That was a great risk, since the commissions were all being paid by the church of the day as well as the aristocracy, but the aristocracy paid great attention to what the church thought. Because he was such a risk taker, he could imagine things and do things that others refused to do. One example of his attention to detail as an inventor, he was greatly concerned with safety. So one of his inventions, we call the Scorpion, was a great scythe that could be rowed close to an enemy sailing craft, and the scythe raised and then dropped to slice the sail in half of the enemy to immobilize it. And the only protection for the ship that was being approached by the Scorpion would be the arrows coming from the sailors aboard the target ship. So Leonardo, unlike every other inventor of the day, built shields for the rowers of the aggressor ship, his ship, to protect them from the raining arrows, to make the concept of the scorpion even more successful. He did a worm screw. We know the worm screw today as the device that keeps the tension on a guitar string. Once the player has gotten it to the right tension for the right tone, the worm screw holds it in place. Leonardo invented the worm screw to hold any heavy object being lifted in place in case of an accident, a slippage, going beyond the means of the workman to protect them from the object falling on them.
Whether in its whimsical yet innovative designs or in the fine paintings on display, one can only be enlightened by the imagination and artistry that the exhibit so beautifully conveys.
Well, we expect the exhibit to be at the Hollywood and Highland Center, opening on the 21st of January, staying till the end of December here in 2011. We're immediately across from the Kodak Theater in the center. And anybody that comes, we know from the comments, the surveys we've taken, and from the letters we've received that they learn a great deal about Leonardo they hadn't known before. They learn about his paintings, they learn about his inventions, they learn about his scientific achievements, they learn about the botany that he developed, the anatomy he discovered, all to enhance his paintings and to bring greater understanding to the engineering work he was doing for the Italian leaders.
When we return, we'll travel north to William S. Hart Park to pay tribute to another genius of his time. Stay with us as we celebrate the genius of Charlie Chaplin's modern times when Out and About continues.